Hey everyone, this is Friedel Huck or AJ Raven. I'm here with my first reaction slash review for X-Men Red, issue number 15, which is part of the Fall of X event that's happening, and it's written by L. Ewing, and this is the front cover. We have Genesis, Grandma Plant, and we have Aurora of the Storm, and we have Fisher King, and because Fisher King ended up basically joining with Xylo, you can see Xylo's strands over here. So considering what happened in the previous issue, I was looking forward to seeing what this issue was gonna offer, and I did enjoy it. When it comes to the narrative and the story moving forward, I did enjoy it, but when it actually comes to Genesis being a threat to Storm, I'm not seeing it. I'm really not seeing it. I'll explain as I move forward. So this particular issue gave us a lot of backstory involving the Fisher King, which I appreciated. Like, L. Ewing has done an amazing job of introducing these new characters from Arakko and making readers actually care about them. And that's very tough when it comes to comic books. So basically, the issue opens. What's this? Spider-Boy is coming out. I don't know who he is, but a new character. Let's see if he sticks. The issue opens up with a narration by the Fisher King when he was younger, and we get to see this mutant, and we have seen him in the battlefield in the previous chapter, and he likes to, his name is Azazot or something, the dark one, the Mind Ripper. He's basically the Mind Flayer, I guess, from Stranger Things or something, and this is a young Fisher King. And Fisher King is like, I have no power. He basically has no weapon, right? And he ends up using Azeroth to flay his mind in a way that he ends up becoming invisible to the Omnipaths. Now, the Omnipaths are a group of psychics who keep an eye on all of the prisoners. And even the thought of rebellion, they pick up on it, and they're like, nope, that person has to go. In the present, we get to see Storm working with her team members to basically figure out what to do next, and they are like, you know what, the only way that Genesis is going to attack us now is through the sea. Even though Subunar isn't really completely siding with Genesis, that's likely where she's going to attack us from next, so we need to be ready. And I have to point out Ironfire, the way he's standing, or basically like standing or resting against this control panel, I'm like, yeah, Ironfire is queer, right? He is supposed to be a queer character. We get more backstory involving the Fisher King, and this is where he ended up basically meeting his wife, who ended up birthing his two daughters, which we do know about. And the way they meet is that he is ready to kill Tarn, and this woman comes in, and her name is what's her name? Zora. Yeah, Zora. Her name's Zora, and she ends up stopping him, and she has the ability to look into his heart, and she's like, you know what, you'll just be wasting your life trying to attack Tarn right now, and even if you end up attacking Tarn, what's gonna happen? It's gonna create a vacuum, and someone more bad is gonna take Tarn's place, and the cycle is gonna continue, so you have to be smart about this. So Genesis ends up taking her fleet to Sobunar's ocean, and she's like, yup, we are basically here where their forces can't really attack us. And I'm like, considering that Storm's power means that she's attuned to the entire planet, she should be able to attack Genesis and her fleet. Even if she's not in the same continent, let's be real. But hey, I get it. L. Ewing has a story to tell, because really, this plant lady really isn't a threat to Storm. Like, the fact that Storm didn't sink the entire fleet the moment they started sailing, like, it makes no sense to me. But hey, we have a story to tell. We have a story. So Genesis ends up asking this mutant, and his name is Exotica, and apparently there's something in his blood that ends up, like, it creates perfection and something. It basically perfects you, it changes you, it makes you better, I guess. And he ends up dropping his blood into the ocean, and that's part of Genesis' plan. Because even if Sobunar doesn't attack Storm and her army, Sobunar's children, the creatures in the ocean, they don't necessarily have any sides or morals, so they'll be willing to take up Exotica's gifts. gift, his blood, and do Genesis' bidding. This is a panel that I liked. It turns out that Peeper is actually alive. He survived the Hellfire Gala because he and someone called Hairbag the boat ended up staying in the keep, and that's how they survived. So Peeper has been helping Storm with surveillance, and Peeper's the one who tells Storm about Genesis' fleet, and how basically it looks like that Genesis' fleet is basically there to scout or something. And I'm like, you know what? Again, Storm should have been able to sense Genesis' fleet when they were sailing, but hey, I guess Al Ewing has to have other characters do something. So anyway, it turns out that Exotica's gift ended up mutating a certain creature inside Sobonar's ocean and ended up making him into this giant sea creature, basically a kaiju. So yeah, they have to deal with the kaiju now. While this is happening, Xylo, who that's inside Fisher King right now, both of them are fused right now. He is uneasy because there's something happening. The Fisher King can't really point it out, can't put a finger on it, but something is up. Get this panel between Solem and the Night Seats, and how the Night Seats, Fisher King, his wife, and remember the teleportal lady, SZA, the singer. But yeah, the Night Seats, they want Solem to work for them, but Solem is like, you know what, I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable. Leave me alone. Unless you want to force him. So Storm decides to handle the situation on her own, and I really like the fact that Al Ewing had Storm create a hailstorm, and then from the hailstorm she ended up creating this giant iceberg, and then she ended up using the giant iceberg to one-shot the sea creature. And I'm like, yeah, that's good, because we don't really see a lot of Storm when it comes to her using her ice powers, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. However, again, while this is happening, the Fisher King / Xylo, they're feeling uneasy. They're like, you know what, something isn't right here. Something isn't right. And then we have this panel where Genesis ends up capturing the Fisher King and the Fisher King's wife, and they are like, oh no, Solem sold us out. And it turns out, well, it wasn't Solem, and the reveal is actually linked to what's happening in the present timeline. It tells you more about Genesis' powers when it comes to plant life. And the Fisher King doesn't die here. His wife ends up taking all of the blame, and she's like, you know what, let me die. And yeah, Genesis ends up bringing out their two daughters, and they basically kill their mother in front of the daughters. So this is the reveal. Genesis is like, you know what, it wasn't Solem who ratted you out. Genesis wears the helm. Genesis whispers to plants, inside your gut there is flora. My spies were inside you. So yeah, gut flora. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she is a plant lady, but she is an omega plant lady, right? So that means that she doesn't necessarily have any limits to her powers. So yep, gut flora. And having watched their mother die without their father doing anything, I guess that's what creates the rift between the Fisher King and one of the daughters, the one who has those blades as a weapon. Now, for those of you who are interested, I am giving out the digital code, so it's kind of like a first come, first serve basis. So this is the digital code. Whoever ends up redeeming it, well, congrats. So the Fisher King / Xylo ends up remembering the past like a bit too late, and he's like, Sunfire, burn the body of the sea creature that Storm just killed. And yeah, it's a bit, not Sunfire, my bad, Sunspot. And it's a bit too late, and Okara Gate ends up erupting from the creature's body. And the Okara Gate is kind of unique. We get an explanation about how it works. Basically, when it comes to the gates between that are on Arakko and Krakoa, they're supposed to be two gates that are connected in order for them to work, but the Okara Gate is different. It doesn't need a connection. If it appears, you can just use it to teleport. However, I think from what I can understand, it does need a blood sacrifice of some sort. It needs life energy. So when Storm ended up killing the sea creature, and that giant sea creature's blood and life energy ended up providing the power required to create such a giant Okara Gate. And yeah, all of Genesis' forces, her children, the White Sword, they come out, and I'm like, ooh, retreat. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next issue is gonna offer. And yeah, Storm versus Genesis. The Storm versus Genesis, like, there's so much hype around that fight. So let's see. Let's see if Al Ewing actually ends up delivering. It feels like a tough task, but let's see. But yeah, anyway, narratively, I liked the issue. I liked learning more about the Fisher King. I liked learning more about the Okara Gate. The only thing that I didn't like is that, again, as of yet, even now, having read the issue, Genesis is still not coming across as a powerful threat to someone like Storm, because again, Storm should have sunk all of the boats in her fleet the moment they set sail. But hey, again, Al Ewing is telling a story. So yeah, let me know what you thought of the chapter down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.